Hey, good morning. I'm Preston with Sprattronics Learning Lab, and today we're going to be introducing the LEGO Science grades 6 through 8 Science Kit. Now, this is different than those LEGO Spike Prime kits in that this one is geared towards teaching science basically for a whole year, and there are 40 lessons that come with this kit. There are about 13 for grade 6, 13 for grade 7, and 13 for grade 8. Somewhere in there, there's one extra lesson that I guess goes across all the grade levels to make a total of 40 lessons. What we're going to cover today is we are going to show you how to access the lessons on teach.legoeducation.com. We are going to unbox this kit and use it for the first time, and we are going to build a robot. We're going to be building a robot challenge course. You can follow along with this build using your own Legos at home. You could build this with a LEGO Spike Prime or a LEGO Spike Essential Kit. You would have to make some changes. And the big difference between LEGO Science and LEGO Spike. LEGO Spike, in order to do just about everything with it, you're going to need to program. You're going to have to get onto the Spike app and code. But with LEGO Science, they included a remote control. So you can remote control anything you build. You don't have an option to program it at all, as far as we can tell. So let's dive right in, and we're going to start unboxing. And if you take a look at, there we go. At the top of this box, it says, do not cut with razor. And the reason it says that, not to cut with a razor, is because you have all your instructions right on the very top. So you want to be very careful when you open this up for the first time, because it is going to have all your instructions at the very top, and you don't really want to damage that as you cut into it. So we are just going to slide the scissors very gently into the top. And what you'll need to be successful today is I have a pair of scissors. We're going to be opening up a lot of bags and organizing this kit. You should have a computer so that you can access your lessons. And this video really is for folks that are new to the LEGO Science curriculum, students that want to follow along and build a robot and see if they can do that. And so we have our kit right here. Get rid of this box. And I'm assuming people can hear me because I see my microphone is moving on there. But there is our LEGO Science box. This is ready to be opened up. In the top part, we have 3 instruction books. Those instruction books, I think, are labeled C1, C2, and C3. And that is for each grade level. C1 is for grade 6, or if you're an international student, that'd be year 7. And then we have grades 7 and 8. Or for our international students, years 8 and 9. But we can take this out. And if you're teaching this in a classroom or for a homeschool group, you want to hold on to this package that's right here. This is where all your building instructions fall. So if you open this up, you get 3 books worth of instructions. I'm going to be doing a grade 7 lesson today, which I think should be in instructions C2. So I'm going to take that one out and just keep it on my table. And then I can set these instructions down to access later on. Now it's time for us to open up this box, and I'm going to see if I can give you a bird's eye view of what this box looks like. Let's see. Start here. You've got this QR code. This is going to take you to teach.legoeducation.com. But we open it up, and we have our electronic parts over here. And it looks like we have the hub that has 2 motors built in. This is the same piece that comes with the Science K through 2 kit and the Science K through 3 through 5 kit. It comes with a bonus motor, which is not in any of the other kits. And it comes with this sensor. And this one is not in any of the other kits either. I'm going to set these off to the side. This right here is your hub. So if you're used to using Lego Spike, this is the hub. This has 2 motors built in. Once you turn it on, you can just roll it forward and it'll keep rolling. You can turn the wheels 2 different directions and they'll roll separately. I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my USB-C charger to give it enough juice so that we can do our lesson right into this. One more piece that you get is this remote control. And this remote control comes with the kit for grades 3 through 5, as well as this kit for grades 6 through 8. And so I'm going to set this right over here. Next, it's time to organize these kits. You can come up with any organization method you want. There's several bags that you're going to have to open up, and you have a divider in there. So I like to take out all my bags to start and just set them off to the side. I take all these little pamphlets that are warnings or the technical specifications. I have my charging cord. I'll set my charging cord off to the side as well. I tend to throw away all these little bags. They don't really help me do anything. I'll look through them later on to see if there's anything helpful in them. Got another one of those pamphlets, a couple base plates, and then you get these cards. These cards that we have, these are going to be used for pairing your controller and your robot. I haven't used these yet, so you'll see what it looks like for the very first time we use it. And these cards let us to combine our controller with our hub. So now we have a totally empty box. I need my divider piece, which is right here. And I like to divide my kit directly in half. There's a little nub here at the bottom that's going to go into one of these holes down in the bottom. And I like to take a look at this page right here, and it shows a recommendation for how to organize your kit. So we will probably do green and blues down here. We'll probably do pinks and oranges over here, browns and tans there, and then whites and clears over on this right side. And when I say whites and clears, I'm going to include my motor and my sensor in that section. So let's go ahead and unbox or unbag everything. The wheels, these are coming in a plastic bag. So this is one that you'd want your scissors for. I've lost my scissors. I don't know where I moved them to. Here they are. Most of the other bags tear easily. This bag right here needs just a little bit of help. And so I see that we are doing browns up on this side. And as you use this kit, you should come up with a good organization system, something that you like to use. We've got bag number 2. This looks like blues, so we're going to put it down here with the trays. Bag number 6. This one is a bag of whites, and that's going to go in this box over here. Looks like I dropped some on the floor. I'll track those down later. Here's bag number 7. These are blacks and grays. I don't know where I'm going to put that one yet. I'm going to set that to the side. Got bag number 3. This one's full of yellows. I'm putting this one in my left-hand bin. You'll see there's a little box in here. This is going to have rubber bands in it. Some of the lessons you need rubber bands, most you don't. If you lose those rubber bands or if they stretch out too much, you can always replace those with just regular rubber bands. They don't work as great, but you can absolutely make those work. Here's some green pieces. They're going in with the greens and the blues. All right, some pinks and clears and reds. I'm going to put those with my yellows. Bag number 5. This is all brown pieces. I'm going to put it right up here in my browns and tans. And now to decide where are we going to put these black pieces. Blacks and grays. I don't know. Maybe we'll put them in with our whites. So black and white, gray and brown and tan. yellow and pinks, and blues and greens. So we have our different trays ready to go. I'm going to take my cards that I have right here, and I'm going to drop them in with probably the browns because that's the most empty set of pieces. But we have unboxed our kit, and our kit is now ready to be used to do one of our lessons. So I want to show you how to get to the lessons on the Lego website. If you are using this for the very first time, I want to make this full screen. There we go. Now to beam you into the computer, which is that one, we go to teach.legoeducation.com. And that's step 3 if you're using the quick start guide, teach.legoeducation.com. Once you're there, you can create a free account. If you have a Lego Spike kit, you should absolutely create one of these teach.legoeducation.com accounts so that you can access all these new Lego science lessons. I have noticed in going through the other grades, K through 2 and 3 through 5, you can adapt almost every one of those lessons to your Spike kits. So if you already have the Spike learning system, you can do a lot of these lessons just by changing your build a little bit to accommodate it. Now, it adds an extra layer of challenge because your students are going to be reverse engineering some of these builds, but you can build things that look very similar or teach the same concepts. And if you follow our channel, which I want to say thank you so much to the over 2,000 people who have followed our channel or subscribed to it. But if you follow our channel and stay alerted to it, we post lessons pretty frequently where we do one of these Lego science lessons, and we also build it with one of our Lego Spike kits. Now, you have the Lego science build directions in these books or available online. So if we build any with the Lego Spike, I try to show you the build steps for Lego Spike rather than for the Lego Science. Something to know about this Lego Science kit. These are designed for groups of 4. You can absolutely adapt and use smaller groups. And we'll go into how they do that. If you're building with your Lego Spike kits, I like to do even and odd numbers for my students so that they can share a kit and work with 2 at a time. And in these Lego Science kits, they're going to give you these mini figures of different colors. Each one of those represents one of your students, and they have very specific build directions to use. We're on the teach.legoeducation.com website, and we click on science lessons. And now I'm in this list of all the lessons that are available. I want to only see grades 6 through 8. And I know the lesson I want to do with you today has to do with engineering. So you can choose what topic are you teaching in class and find a lesson that goes along with it. Click on life sciences. In the middle school kit, it's a lot of genetics and a lot of environmental factors. Some of the earlier kits are more about the cell, but I want to do engineering. And specifically, we try to focus on robots. So this one caught my eye, the up top robot. So we just click right on it. And you've got 2 options as a teacher or a facilitator of this lesson. You have your facilitation notes, which is a printout that you can make that goes through everything that you'll be doing with some hints. And then you have a classroom presentation. I plan to spend about the next 20 minutes or so on this classroom presentation, and we are going to go through it. So if you're a student, you can follow along. You can build this with your own Legos or with your Spike kit. If you're a teacher, I recommend going through this lesson as a student just so you can start to get the feel of how these lessons flow before you ever try to present them to a classroom. So we can click on classroom presentation, and it's going to take over our screen. This is great for your Promethean boards or smart boards. And this first page, this is the one you can print and hang up on your wall. And if you have a building that needs to list learning goals or I can statements, or students will be able to print this page out, you're done. Just put it up there. This is going to give your overview of the standards that your students are doing. The first page that your students are going to want to see, or what should be up when you start this lesson, is slide 1 out of 10. We're building up top robot. How do you high five a robot? We're going to be doing something today called a challenge course. And before we dive into what a challenge course is, think about robots. When you imagine a robot, What does it look like? What does it do? There are robots that do all sorts of things. There are robots in the automotive industry, and each one is designed to put together particular parts. It can lift heavy objects, it can move heavy objects around. There are robots that look like giant arms that are designed to paint auto parts. And so it has a spray painter attached to it, and it paints the parts as they come by on an assembly line. We have delivery bots. They look like coolers, but on wheels, and they drive around urban areas delivering food to different people's homes. There's robots that are designed to look like drones that fly around. You've probably seen the robots from Boston Dynamics that look like dogs. But when we imagine robots, I'm sure lots of people imagine a humanoid looking robot, something that walks upright with two legs or two limbs and can carry things. So let's try to get as close to that type of robot today by designing a robot that can high five. If you're a Star Wars fan or the Mandalorian fan, you see robots or droids all the time. Science fiction has tons of robots in it. If you were a child in the 80s, you probably saw Lost in Space that had the Danger Will Robinson robot that was very much updated when Netflix made the new version. But let's move on and go over our challenge. When we're doing an engineering design process, we like to start things off with a challenge or a problem you're trying to solve. So welcome to the Robot Challenge course. Your robot must successfully complete 3 challenges to master the course. We're going to build a robot and see how it performs. Have you ever heard of a challenge course? Have you ever seen a challenge course? A challenge course is typically a path or a series of events where there's a different obstacle along the way. There's a challenge path in my nearby park where one step you have to do hopscotch, another step you have to count a certain number of trees in a space. A third step, the challenge is to run to an object and back. Challenge courses can be designed in lots of different ways. We're going to be designing a challenge course for our robot. We're going to give you the exact challenges to use. And the challenge you have today is to build a robot that can navigate the challenge course. If we want to make a robot that is capable of a lot of different things, we might want to make a challenge course that's kind of difficult for this robot. The more difficult the challenge is, the more advanced a robot needs to be. It's now time for us to build this robot. And so in our Teach.Lego Education presentation, it tells us what page to go to, as well as what the instructions are. And I did pull out the incorrect book. I need book 3. And it also shows that you should give out 3 or 4 of your minifigures. The green, the yellow, the red, and the blue minifigure. This is going to let each student know exactly what they're building. I'll probably switch over to my overhead camera for this build step. If you don't have the booklet in front of you or decided not to give the books out or you've misplaced it, you can always click on this model, which should give you the build instructions, or back on that home screen, you can get to the build instructions. So let's take a look at page 14 on what we're going to be actually building. Page 14 is going to show us an overview of the robots that we're building. And then when we turn the page, it'll show you what each student is supposed to make. Blue is going to make different obstacles. It looks like our yellow student is going to start building the hub. And then we show how all of those work together. I think next time I do a live, I might build this stuff in advance, but I didn't want to unbox this without doing it on camera. So that's why we did it the way we did. Let's see. So now it's time to build. Nice thing about organizing our kit is that when we do it correctly, we can identify exactly where the parts are. I might mute my microphone while I build because I know that sound of parts sliding around can be tough. Let's see now for a blue circle. And on top of that blue circle, I need a brown circle as well. And then it looks like I just need this pink curved piece right there. So our blue character has built the pieces that they're supposed to build. As I find those pieces, I'll put those people together. And if you're building this with your own Legos at home or with one of those Lego Spike kits, you could build something similar. You can find pieces that look fairly similar to all of these. All right, our red character is going to also be building something like that. And I've not forgotten that I dropped 2 pieces on the floor when I poured out that white bag. So if I have to get up and hunt for a piece, that's what I'll be doing. And the idea behind this, in that Lego lesson plan, there's timers built in. So we should be taking about 10 minutes to build this before we start pairing it and talking about it. Let's see, my green character, there's your green body. We need a pink piece, a white smooth piece, which might be in this mini bag of white pieces. It is. Put this piece on top, and then another one of those pink curved pieces. And then finally, our yellow character, he needs to grab the hub, which I plugged the hub in so it could start charging just a few minutes ago. Hopefully there's enough battery in this to do this lesson today. But the hub, we're going to put in a couple bricks, a couple yellow axles. And it's nice because when they show you the axle in the directions, you can just lay the axle right on it and make sure it's the right size. You don't have to go through and count all the pieces. They include in the parts that are ideal. All right, this looks like we have built all 4 pieces that we're supposed to build, and now it shows us how it's going to go together. So we'll put these pieces on. There we go. This looks like what is in the directions. We're ready for the next page. And now it's showing us what all 4 of our students should collect. I'm building this by myself, so I'm going through and just building and trying to find each character's piece. Green, you're there. You need that. Blue, you're going to build with these pieces and track down a tire. Red, you're building these pieces. These will probably be obstacles or part of our challenge. A long brown piece with this pink part on it. Who is this? Red. And then yellow. Yellow is going to be collecting a tire. And it looks like a tower piece with a clear white piece on top. And one of these interesting pieces. It's got 4 feet on it and it stands up. So now we can see that we've built all 4 of the objects that we need to build. So now we stand our robot up with the axles on the bottom. It looks like this pink piece goes up top and is going to cover the charging port. Let's see, it looks like blue's piece is going to go down here on the bottom. This is probably going to help our robot to stand up and balance. This robot is going to be very similar to the big little helper robot from the Spike Essential Kit. Put an antenna up top, and then it looks like we stack these pieces on top of each other. Now these pieces are sort of loose, and that is intended. And we'll put the wheels on our robot as our last step. So there we go. Our robot looks just about ready to start driving around. Hold the monitor up there. Can't get that camera to focus on anything other than my face right now. Let's see what we do next. Next, we're going to build some challenges. So our blue character, you need a white piece. This looks like our hockey goal that we're going to be making, as well as a couple of blue. And then a clear pink piece on top. There we go. Looks like red, you're building the identical object. There they are, this white piece that has, I don't know, this turquoise or bluish color going across it, with a pink smooth piece holding them together on the very top. That's red. Green needs one of these platform pieces, and 3 of these new, they've got the pink studs on top, and if you look on the bottom, they're grippy. So it looks like we need 3 of those. And so I'm going to build that to look just like our picture in page 20. And then our yellow character is building the remote control. And so we need a hockey puck and 2 of these yellow axles. It looks like they're going to go into the controller. I have not used one of these controllers yet, so I'm pretty excited to test out pairing it using the cards. I was wondering what the cards were for when I opened up my grades 3 through 5 kit. Now we're ready for step 8, which is putting everything together. And so these goal pieces fit on the side. And so far we have built 2 of the 3 challenges. So this is the hockey goal challenge. This one is knocking pieces off of a board without knocking down everything else. And now for our final challenge, which should be to do the robotic high five. And we see that we have 4 different steps we're doing. Each of those characters is responsible for one of those steps. We'll start with blue, since those pieces I could see right away. And then we will go on to green. Next up is red, which is going to be building a tall base using these very tall white pieces. And then I see our yellow character is building this base at the bottom. And these Lego Science kits came out with these big base pieces that you can build different things on. They've been pretty helpful when we've done some of the other lessons for the lower grades. So now we're ready to put everything together, with red's piece going on next, followed by green's piece to hold it all together on the top. And then finally, it looks like blue's piece is going to go up here. It's a pretty tall build. And this, I imagine, is going to be the last page where we build something to be giving out a high five. So we'll do our same steps again, building for each of our characters. All right, I'm on the hunt for a short. Nope, I'm looking for the wrong piece. I'm looking for 2 double wide blue pieces. I was looking for a 4 long piece, and there's none of those in there. So 2 of these pieces is what I'm on the hunt for. Just need 1 more, and then a yellow pin going into, looks like the second spot on the back side. So that's our blue character's build. Next up is our green character. Looks like this yellow lily part, and then a white flower. And that's from that tiny bag that we just opened a little while ago. How are we doing on time? We're 31 minutes in. We've unboxed our kit. We've shown you how to get to the Lego Science website. If you're following along, you could be pausing this video throughout so that you can catch up, or you can move ahead. I'm currently building Red's piece and looking for another one of those white flowers. And finally, I'm going to build Yellow's piece, which looks like a flat whiteboard with 2 of these tan pieces on either end of it, and then 2 more of those pink curved pieces going on the front and the back. There we go, starting to come together and look like a face. I bet that's what we're making. Now it's time to put all of our pieces together. Let's see, I attached green's piece when I shouldn't have. This yellow piece goes on the bottom, and then each of these blue pieces with the white flower goes on the front to make eyes. And then I lay this down like this, plug that into that side, this into this side. There we go. And the final step we'll do is we attach this head onto the top, and it can easily spin around. This is a clever way to make a high-five robot. So it looks just like that. So now we can go back to our presentation and start presenting to our students what to do next. So we were on the build step. We could have put this screen up where you can put the timer up there. It shows your students exactly what they're building. And now that we've built it, I believe we're ready to pair our robot. So we're going to give a couple minutes to test this out. I want to keep these pieces nearby because we're going to need them. But it's time now to try to pair our robot. And we've not paired a controller with a robot before, but we are going to try that out today. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to take my heart card, and it says number 53 on it. I'm not 100% certain what that means. And we will take our robot and our controller. And there's a button on each side. So I'm going to turn the button on. Oh no, my controller might not have enough charge to do this today. And then I hold my card close to it. And when I'm holding it pink, it changed that light to a pink color. Oh no. I should have charged the controller up before doing this. So let me try that real fast. And like we talked about earlier, if you are building this with your Spike Essential Kit or your Spike Prime Kit, you should be able to build these robots that look very similar to it and then test them out. with your students. All right, next I've got my remote control on. I hold the pink card up to it, and now my pink card has changed colors. Now I have to do this. It immediately fell over, but it did work. So I can press. I think I have my controller upside down. So let me turn it over. Both thumbs forward will drive. I think students are going to love this, that it's a remote control robot. And we are using the Lego Science 6 through 8 kit right now. So give your students a couple minutes to try to drive this. And then let's try to go backwards really fast. That'll make it fall over. And so now it's time to test out and see, can you do these 3 challenges? So the 3 challenges that our students have, I'm going to try to clear everything off so that you can see better. First up, can we give this robot a high five? We know we've given it a high five whenever it drives by it and the robot face turns to face a different direction. So if we're just driving forward, we don't seem to come in contact with the board. Let's see if we can get our antenna to hit it. We get stuck there. Not close enough. So I think our robot isn't ready to complete this challenge. This challenge right here, can your robot drive over and knock off the 2 bricks, the 2 turquoise bricks, without knocking over the column? And I just don't see any way that this robot, as it is right now, can do that. We knocked everything over. And finally, the goal is to move this puck past those pink bars. And again, I don't think our robot's going to be able to do that. So here's your challenge for your students. Make attachments to this robot so that it can accomplish these 3 challenges. I'm going to take us back into the Lego lesson plan so that you can take a look at what our students should see or how we should discuss this. All right, I believe that has us on the lesson plan with me up in the corner. So we've built the 4. We attempted each challenge with our robot. How well does it perform each challenge? Not really well. And that's because we haven't made any improvements to this robot, which that's the whole point of this lesson, is iterating and improving. We know the challenges now. In the goal challenge, our robot must move the puck into the goal past the coral-colored markers. And what that looks like is we just need to move this puck past to these markers. If we can do that, it's a success. The next one, the block challenge, our robot is supposed to knock over these 2 blocks without knocking over the column or the stand. So now your students should be given some extra time to make changes to their robot. We can discuss that. We can talk about what made each challenge difficult. It's time now to improve, to iterate. So redesign this robot. Iterate. What does iterate mean? I can click right here and it'll tell me a definition, make a change, and test the results. We want to iterate it so that it can complete all 3 challenges. What do you think the optimal design of the robot? So which design is going to work as well as possible? You might come up with solutions that work well on 1 challenge, but not all 3. So what I'm thinking about is we need a way to push this out farther. So maybe something that sticks out down low. We need something that reaches out to hit this high five. And maybe that high five stand might also complete our knock the blocks over challenge. So we've got a timer. You decide how much time you want to give your students. and click that timer. You can move it all around your screen. You can make it bigger. But decide how much time you want to give your students. If you're pressed for time, give them less. If you want them to try more things, give them more time. And this is that bulk of that learning. Don't solve these challenges for your students. This is a chance for them to solve these challenges. So they'll use their kits, they'll come up with ideas. Once they've had a chance to test it, now present. Go around to all 4 of your groups and ask them, what did you do to try to solve this challenge? What was the optimal design for your robot? And as you continue to go through, we can ask other questions like, how can we iterate to improve in these pictures? And so an example of that could absolutely be, trying to make different pizzas and see which one's more liked. In cooking, you cook a meal and then you take a break from it and try it out. And then you're going to come up with some ways to make it better. Maybe this meal needs a different ingredient. Maybe it needs more salt, but lots of ways to improve in cooking. In chess or sports, what's a great way to open up your game? How should you start? Your soccer students are going to have some ideas of how to open up a soccer game. Maybe take the lead early, maybe a strategy to go onto the offensive faster. Your art students, every time you paint a picture or create a sculpture, what's something you would do different next time to improve on that? We iterate across all sorts of fields. Robotics and engineering is no different. If you want, you can give your students a writing prompt here at the very end. What did each iteration look like? My version 1 of the robot, this version, it couldn't do any of the challenges. It was not successful with a single challenge, but we made improvements to it. We made it work better. In our second version of the challenge, maybe we were able to do the high five, but we weren't able to do the hockey puck. I think this is something that we might make a Spratronics PDF that you can download to give to your students, where it'll ask them questions similar to this or give them a space to draw. And then finally, our last step of a lesson is to clean up. This is where it's so important to look underneath your table, see if you've picked up all the pieces. Take apart your robot and put the colored pieces back in the correct bins. Do one more look underneath your table or your desk area for any extra pieces and find out what is down there. Now, I know I didn't take the time to improve my robot. I don't want to give away the solutions for what's going to work great for this robot. This is a challenge for our students. This is a challenge for your classroom to come up with. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for being a part of the Spratronics Learning Lab community. And please let me know, what would you like to see more of as we make these videos? So we now have the Lego Spike Essential Kit, the Lego Spike Prime Kit. We have the Lego Science Kits. We have a learning lab in Greenville, South Carolina, where we use all of these materials to help families to maximize their child's education. But I want to hear from you. If you've tuned in to watch this live, thank you so much. But let us know, what do you want to see more of? Do you want to see us do more robot challenges? Do you want to see more First Lego League? Do you want us to cover science topics using these different Lego science products? But we want to help you to maximize your education, whether or not that's for homeschool, for traditional school, if you're a teacher looking to incorporate more Legos in your classroom, or if you are a group of students that just is curious about science and is using Legos to grow what you're learning. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for our 2,000 subscribers. We want to keep on growing this. And thank you to everybody that likes or sends us a comment on what we're doing. That helps us to keep making these videos and to have that desire to keep making those videos. Last thing, if you built a robot to do these 3 challenges, let us know, what did each iteration look like? Which challenge did you try to solve first? And if you're running into a problem solving these challenges, do one challenge at a time. Don't try to make a robot that can do all 3 on the very first try. Try to solve one challenge first, then add a second challenge to it. Can you still solve both challenges? Go one step at a time. Use that engineering design process to keep getting better at everything. Thank you so much to everybody that tuned in with us today. I noticed that I fixed the flickering issue with our lives. And the way I did that is I just turned off my controller that I was watching what we were doing on there. So thank you. Tune in next time as we do a live lesson in the future. The 45-minute mark, this feels like a good stopping point for us. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day.